If you would have asked me when my business started what my business would look like in 12 years, I probably would have said that we do weddings and we're a photo booth company. That's literally all I was envisioning at the time when I started. But if you ask me today, I wouldn't even consider us to be a full blown photo booth company anymore. We're basically an experiential marketing and brand activations company. And we're also in the process of pivoting towards being a company that does permanent installs. Now, while our name hasn't changed that much, and yes, maybe we split our brands at one point, the business as a whole has changed significantly from day one. And I want to talk about this because I think a lot of people listening are probably sitting on a version of a business you've already outgrown. And instead of seeing these changes as progress, you're seeing them as failure because you have this idea in your head of the business you were building. And you're so stuck on that you're failing to see the universe or God or whoever pushing you in another direction so that you can actually grow. Let me walk you through what it looked like for my own business when I first started. My business was targeting wedding clients because when I built it around this avatar of a person who wanted a very stylized photo booth. And that wasn't what was traditionally out there at the time. What was out there back then was these big black boxes with dollar store props and terrible lighting, horrible camera quality, and designs that came straight out of Microsoft Word art. It was brutal. I knew there was a market out there that wanted studio quality photo booths with really beautiful backdrops and design forward templates that were essentially memory makers for weddings. So I went hard on that. And that was my entire identity back then. Worked really, really well for us, but I built everything around that clientele. And it worked for a couple years and it was the backbone of my business. Now, I will say within a few months, we started to get some corporate work, and that corporate work is kind of what opened a whole new door. Weddings and small corporate is what got us to six figures. And when I say small corporate, I mean what I'd consider to be entry level stuff: trade shows, employee appreciation days, and holiday parties, that kind of thing. These were weekday events, so it did present a whole other level of problems. Honestly, the sales process changed completely because I'm no longer dealing with an individual. I'm now dealing with a person who's communicating to another team. So that meant reinventing a lot of the business. But I saw potential there. And leaning into corporate meant that now I was marketing to two very specific things at once. And I didn't stop marketing to weddings because weddings were still the bulk of our revenue. But I did see this huge opportunity with corporate, mostly because corporate events for 3 hours was sometimes double what I would make for a wedding. And yes, there was a little bit of extra work involved there, but it wasn't substantial. I would just make a lot more off of a corporate event than I would off of a wedding. Now, I didn't plan for this. It just happened. I saw the opportunity and I started to lean into it. But of course, that presented so many problems I needed to figure out. Like I mentioned, the sales process is totally different. Your payment process is very different. Corporate tries to push payment terms, whereas weddings understand that payment is what payment is. You're also dealing with brands and a whole bunch of other stuff, two totally different sets of clients. And eventually, that's what led me to leave my job and focus on the photo booth business full time. Not weddings on their own. It was corporate coming in and the mix that made it possible. Now, when we started leaning into more corporate, I realized I need to split my brands because I was having a hard time marketing to both of those on the same account. So we split it between Modern Photo Booth Co., which is our wedding brand, and Modern Activations, which is our corporate brand. And we started leaning into each one of our ideal customers for each one of those brands. When we did that, we started getting way more corporate work and we started getting into the things that were way different in terms of corporate. And I want to say something about the split because I think it's a decision people underestimate the most. I wasn't splitting the brand because I wanted two websites and twice the admin. I did it because I was trying to talk to a bride and a marketing manager from the same account. And those two people want completely different things and they don't believe the same proof. A bride, or really a couple, they want to see a gorgeous backdrop and a template that matches their invitation, whereas a marketing manager wants to see logos that they recognize and a number of impressions or some sort of idea of ROI. They also want to see a clean setup. So when you try to say both of those things in one place, you end up saying neither of them well, and both of your buyers just scroll right past you. The moment we gave each of them their own brand and their own feed and their own language, both sides got way easier. Now, at the beginning of 2019, we had our first taste of experiential marketing and we went into it pretty hard. I loved it. The team loved it. It was great. And of course, 2020 came along and put a wrench in everybody's plans. And we had to pivot again, but this time in a completely different direction. Our weddings basically died off at this point because weddings couldn't happen at all. And having a virtual photo booth really wasn't a priority for people getting married. But in the corporate world, virtual was the only thing available to them, and people still wanted to have those interactions. So basically, overnight, we had to pivot to be a virtual photo booth company. And that's really what allowed us to stay alive during that time. So that was another unplanned pivot. But in the meantime, I was still marketing for when the world opened back up. So we went hard on experiential stuff and brand launches because I really saw that as our next avenue of success and where we'd be able to scale. And that's actually the part I'd underline out of the whole stretch because there are two kinds of pivots and they get talked about like they're the same thing. There's the pivot you choose, which is one where you see an opportunity and you move towards it. And then there's the pivot that gets done to you, which is what 2020 was for every one of us. You don't get to plan that one. You just get to decide how fast you move and whether you're still building anything while you're surviving. Virtual kept the lights on and I'm grateful for it, but I never thought virtual was the future for my company. So while we were doing that work, I was still putting time and marketing into experiential because I knew live was coming back and I wanted to be positioned for that day instead of starting from a complete standstill. That's why the rebound looked the way it did. It wasn't luck that we came out bigger. We came out bigger because the marketing had been running the whole time, even when there was nothing to sell. Then once the COVID thing went away a little bit and events started coming back, we hit the ground running. We went from being a $500,000 company to a $1.5 million company in what I'm going to call overnight. If you fold away what happened during COVID, our brand changed significantly. And this is just 5 years. 2019, we were one company. 2020, we were another company. And by 2023, we were yet another company. That's a lot of change really quickly. And it definitely came with its struggles for sure. And I've talked about those in some past episodes. So now we've leaned into being an experiential marketing company, and that's what we've been doing and growing for the past 3 years. Now, Modern Photo Booth Co., our wedding brand, has stayed tried and true to what it is. That one hasn't changed for us because our focus is no longer there. That business is basically on maintenance mode. It works, it's repeatable, it's scalable, and if I wanted to do more events, we could. But the opportunity for us is so much more with corporate, and with corporate, it's kind of limitless. And I want to sit on that word maintenance mode for a sec because I think it's one of the more useful things I can hand to you today. When people talk about pivoting, they talk about it like you have to kill the old thing to make room for the new thing. I didn't kill weddings. I stopped growing them. And there's a big difference. And it's the difference between having a second revenue stream that quietly does its job while your attention is somewhere else and having a hole in your business that you now have to fill. If you've got an offer that works and is repeatable and doesn't need much of you, that's not something you throw away because you got excited about a new direction. That's your runway. Let it fund your next thing. Okay, so let's look at other companies that have done this because I don't want you just taking my word for it based on the one photo booth company from Ottawa. Nintendo started back in 1889 making handmade playing cards in Kyoto, and that was the business for decades. Along the way, they tried a bunch of other things that didn't stick before they landed on toys, and then electronic toys, and then eventually the console business that everyone knows them for now. So that company that put a Mario game in your hand was a paper goods company for way longer than it's been a gaming company. Wrigley is a favorite one. William Wrigley was out there selling soap. And then to get retailers to carry it, he threw in free baking powder. Well, the baking powder got more attention than the soap, so then he switched to starting to selling baking powder instead. Then he started giving away chewing gum with the baking powder, and the gum got more attention than the baking powder, so then he sold gum. And he has built one of the most recognizable brands on the planet out of free gifts he used to move a completely different product. Shopify, which PS is also from Ottawa, happened because two guys wanted to sell snowboards online and they hated every piece of software available to do it. So they built their own. The snowboard shop is a footnote now, and the software they built to run it has become the whole company. Now, Slack was a video game company and they were building an online game and it wasn't working. And the internet chat tool that they used as a team to communicate with each other turned out to be the valuable thing. So they shut down the game and started shipping the chat tool. Now look at what those have in common because it isn't luck. In most of them, the next business was already sitting inside their current business. It was the giveaway. It was the internal tool. It was the thing off the side that nobody looked at as a product because everyone was too busy defending the original plan. And honestly, that's exactly what happened to me. Corporate didn't come from a strategy session. These calls started showing up while I was busy being a wedding company. And the only reason it turned into anything is that I paid attention to them instead of treating them as a distraction from what I thought I was building. Your next version is probably already in the building. It's the request you keep turning down. It's the piece of gear you bought for one job that clients keep asking about. It's the thing you throw in for free because it takes you 20 minutes and then your client talks about it for months. Now, here's what I want you to be careful of, though, because everything I just said can be used as an excuse to blow up something that's working so you can chase something shiny. And I'll be the first to admit I'm at risk of that one. If I'm being true to myself after a month or two of doing the same thing over and over, I get bored. So I need to be able to grow and learn more things. That's just how I'm built, which means I have to check myself every time I get excited about a new direction because I have to know whether I'm seeing a real opportunity or whether I'm just restless. So here's how I tell the difference. The clearest signal is when clients start asking you for the new thing without you ever selling it to them. That's what happened with corporate for me. Nobody at my company decided corporate was the play. The phone rang and it kept ringing, and eventually I had enough of those calls to see it was a market and not a fluke. The second one is when the economics separate. A corporate event for 3 hours was sometimes double a wedding for a little bit extra work. When the number on the new things are that different from the number on the old thing, that gap is only going to get bigger and you should be paying attention to it early. The third one is when the old thing starts needing more of you just to hold flat. If you're working harder every year to stay in the same place, the ground under that offer is moving. And the ones that aren't signals, you had one bad quarter. Somebody on Instagram is doing something that looks more fun than what you do. The work got harder. Every version of the business gets harder at some point, and the hard isn't the same thing as wrong. If you want to take some of the guesswork out of it, here's what I'd actually do. Pull your last 3 years of bookings and sort them by event type. So weddings, corporate, brand work, or whatever your categories are. Then look at what share of your revenue each one of them produces, how that share moves year over year, and roughly how much of your own time each one of them ate. You're looking for two big things: where the growth is happening on its own without you pushing it, and where you're spending the most of yourself for the least amount of return. These two answers usually sit in different columns, and the space between them is basically telling you where your business is already going, whether you decide that or not. Now, most founders have never run that report. They know their top line, they have a feeling about the rest, and the feeling is the fine place to start from, but a terrible place to make a decision from. The other thing I'd tell you is that these shifts work best when they're a short step, like sidestep from something you're already good at. Every one of mine was. Corporate used the same booths and same attendance and same operational muscle that we already had for weddings. And experiential, exact same thing, just a bit more complex. Now, permanent installs used booths that we had already purchased for the corporate side of things, and it used relationships with venues we were already working with. None of that was starting a brand new company from zero. It was taking what already existed and pointing it at a different buyer. My company is constantly in flux, which has its good and its bad. Some days I almost wish we had a repeatable company that just kind of worked the way it worked. But at the same time, the growth is what's so exciting. And that's the trade I keep making. Plus, I get bored doing the same thing over and over again. If you take one thing from this, make it this. Sit down this week and write down what your business actually does today, not the version on your website and not the sentence you've had memorized in your head for all the networking events since 2019. What it does right now based on what your calendar and where your money actually came from the last 12 months. Then write out the sentence you'd want to be saying 3 years from now. If those two sentences are the same, sit with that for a minute, because a business that hasn't moved in 5 years is usually stuck more than it's stable. And if they're different, then you found your direction. The space between those two sentences is your roadmap. And everything I talked about today is how you close it without setting fire to the thing that's already paying you. You're allowed to become something else. The company you started isn't a contract you signed with your younger self. If this is the kind of thing you'd rather be doing with other founders in the room instead of alone at your kitchen table, that's a lot of what Illuminate is about. It's our application-only creative retreat happening in Miami in October. If you haven't heard about it, head on over to illuminatecreative.live and send in your application. I would love to see you in that room. And if this one hit for you, come find me on Instagram at Photo Booth Mastery and tell me what your two sentences were. The messages where people are talking about their business and where it's going next are my favorite ones. Everything else is waiting for you over at photoboothmastery.catalinabloch.com if you want to learn more about any of this stuff. Now go find what your business is actually trying to become.